I got the last.
No, I'm sorry, the agenda for today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I looked over the agenda.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'd like to call to order the Parks and Recreation Board meeting for Wednesday, April 14th for City of Bel Air Beach. So I don't know if any of you know, but our secretary, Rick, resigned about a week after our last meeting. So the first thing that we need to do before I guess we do anything is I guess every April we vote on board members. So chair, vice chair, and secretary. And when I came in to volunteer, I believe it was November, like I guess it just blew up. I really didn't know a whole lot about it, but it was George, Rick, and I, and he literally sat here and said, we can't proceed with the meeting until we vote on these positions. And like, obviously, I need a secretary to take notes today. Rick's not here, and we need to vote in a new one. So we're going to do that before we approve the agenda or the last one because I need someone to like follow up on that. And then before we vote on anything, I just kind of want to explain the different positions. I know you see kind of what you see in the meetings, but just, you know, if you have any questions, I'm just going to give a brief outline of each one. So if you're the chairperson of this committee, you obviously run the meetings. And you put together the meeting notes, and I mean, I guess it's different for anyone that runs it, but you, if you're the chairperson, you kind of decide what the agenda is, kind of where you want to lead the meeting. Like I met with Lynn Reeves, I probably talked to Patty 2 or 3 times a week. I've been talking to Kyle because of the t-shirts and stuff. So at least a couple times a week I'm talking to or in the building with somebody here. And then, just follow up for different things that you're doing or assigning things. And then up to your discretion, you can do reports at every single city council meeting if you choose, or you can do the quarterly board report where you just kind of fill everybody in on what's going on, what we're working on, like what they need to vote on or approve, etc. And then the vice chair position would basically be, like say I woke up today and I wasn't feeling well and I couldn't come to the meeting, but it was already a public notice, I can't call and say, or the chair can't call and say, I cancel this meeting, I don't feel good. The vice chair would then have to run the meeting. Like, so everybody has the meeting notes, the vice chair would just therefore take over the chairperson's full responsibilities for either that week, that month, that day, however long the chairperson was out. And then the secretary, Lynn provides like an outline. So basically our notes are kind of bullet pointed. So you kind of say, George, first this motion and Nicole seconded it and it passed, 5-1 or 6-1 or however many people are here. You basically just keep an account of what our meeting was like, and then you take it home, you type it up, and you email it to Patty. So you can't just hand over your handwritten notes from the meeting, because a lot of times I guess she can't read them, and she's like, they need to be typed up and sent to me. And usually you have 2 weeks to do it. She doesn't expect it right away. She just needs it in time to get everything together and then put this together for us to approve and sign at the following meeting. So does that make sense? Oh, and then for the different positions, hey, did you finish your meeting early?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So you can have your handy dandy recorder. I think I'm recording now, so.
Okay.
But whatever. Oh, and so as far as positions go, you can nominate yourself, you can nominate someone else, and then we just vote, on each position. So does anybody have any questions or any thoughts or any nominations they'd like to make? And honestly, like say if I nominate George for vice chair again and George doesn't want it, then he has the right to say, no, I'm stepping back, I don't want to take this responsibility for the next year or whatever. So you do have that option if someone else nominates you, and obviously if you don't want it, you don't nominate yourself. So
The meetings are set by the chairperson.
yes.
Totally, chairperson can say we're meeting once a year, or once a month,
Or 3 times a month. It is whatever it is.
It is what it is, so under Tammy's leadership, it would be once a month. Previous leadership, sometimes we met 3 times a month. Previous to that, we meet 3 times a year. So the only reason I'm saying that is don't feel like whoever wants to be the chairman has to be every month. If we have business to do, we should meet every month or whatever it takes to do that business. Otherwise, put it on hold until we have business like this.
Yes, well that and the fact that I will tell you, because most of you don't come to the city council meetings, and obviously due to certain affiliations, the mayor, who is the most vocal when I give our board presentations, was very much in favor of how the last council or chairperson ran this council. So according to him, the last person did a report every month. The last person did this, the last person did that. So I'm just telling you, like, if Nicole becomes chair and you decide we're going to meet once a year, I guess you're not in the meetings. You just have to do a quarterly board report and say we haven't met. So I obviously like the once a month meetings. I would like them shorter than they have been, but sometimes I didn't feel like that was completely in my control. Obviously, we had the discussion in the one meeting that, we're going to get better at cutting people off. But when it's just us, we decide how long the meeting lasts. If people are going to talk, I'm not going to cut you off. You're part of the board, but just know the meeting is going to go longer. So, but yeah, that's absolutely a fact. You can do it however you want to do it, and you set the agenda and you set the schedule.
You are currently chair.
I am currently chair.
And you would currently like to stay chair, correct?
I didn't say that. If someone else really wants the job, because like I said,
But what I'm saying is, would you like to stay, or are you trying to give this position up?
You know what? If someone wants to try it, I wouldn't mind nominating them. But we obviously don't get to talk outside of this room, so I don't know where the interest level lies, or
But
what.
I think that's an appropriate question to ask.
Inappropriate?
It's appropriate.
Appropriate.
If anybody wants to be in any one of these positions.
Well, you can
I
nominate
guess
yourself.
My question is, if you were nominated, would you accept it?
It would depend on if someone else was interested
Okay.
in the position.
Okay.
So, I guess we can start with, does anyone want to nominate themselves for any of the positions that are open?
Yeah. I would just like to say this is really hard for me to get here because of my work, and I can't really
understand.
take on any more work.
I get it.
So
If
that's
absolutely
how I
nobody
feel.
else will do it, I would take your right hand man, but not your position.
Vice chair.
Yep, vice chair.
Vice chair.
But only if there's absolutely everybody throwing in the towel and you are taking chair.
Okay. Nicole?
Does that make?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
No, I would, if you want to do it, I would vote you as vice chair. And would you like to stay secretary?
He's never been
Oh,
secretary.
wait, sorry. The other.
Yeah, Rick resigned, so we don't have a secretary, and
I'd like to nominate Tammy for chair.
I'd favor that.
I
All those in favor?
okay, I'll see. Okay, I would like to nominate Nora to be vice chair. Do I have a second?
second.
Second. All those in favor?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up the Toastmasters maybe, in case you're ever sick.
I would like to nominate Nicole to be secretary.
I second that.
Everybody in favor? Do you want? Will you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you don't have to write paragraphs anymore. I mean, is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
We're good. Okay. So we're doing bullet points now. We're not doing paragraphs. So literally, there's a template that you fill in, and you'll just have to type like one, like sentence.
Okay.
Okay, so now I can call to order the meeting today. Secretary, will you do roll call, please? Oh, I have that for number one. Huh? I know, George, but I usually call to order the meeting, then we do roll call, and then I approve the agenda. I've always done it in that order, so.
Okay.
Yep, here.
Tammy Lavenda,
I'm here.
George, little brother, last name,
Worked
Hotel. Nicole Sussman here. And then our alternate is Nora.
Now new vice chair.
Now new vice
You're the
chair.
vice chair. Put that on here? Or no?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, you absolutely have to put on the new positions. Okay, so number one, order of agenda. Can I have approval on the agenda? Do I have a motion?
Sure.
And can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So Nora
Jinx.
approved.
Yep.
Okay, so the agenda for today is approved. And then item number 2 is the approval of minutes from the last meeting, March 16th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Sure.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, approved?
Aye.
Aye. So full approval on number 1 and 2. So,
Do I have to put the minutes, like, for that, because the second one says election of officers.
yes, just put what we voted
Minutes, and
on.
then who was first, right?
I think I did it first.
Motion first, okay. And second,
George.
okay. Got it? Okay.
You're doing great, secretary. I love it.
I was going to order.
And ask as many questions as you want. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, you're learning and it's totally fine. So agenda item number 3, citizen comments. We don't have anybody in here, so we're gonna pass on that one.
Maybe that's a citizen comment.
You wanna answer it and see if it's a citizen?
It's right on.
It was right on.
Someone's calling to comment. That's hysterical. Okay, so agenda item number 4, the Bel Air Beach We Love Our City donation program. So I'm going to turn this over to Nora because I know she was trying to reach out to the Bel Air Beach Garden Club to see if we can kind of piggyback on their
I
non-for-profit.
I spoke to a lot of Lindas, is what I have to say.
You spoke to what? A lot of
Lindas. There's a lot of
Oh,
Lindas.
Lindas. I thought you said I spoke to a lot of ladies.
And a lot of ladies too. And it turns out they no longer have their 501c3. They got rid of it. And that's why they donated the benches and other things, is because they wanted to wipe their hands clean of it.
Did they say why? Did they give you feedback?
She kind of said that it had run its course. They opened it up, they raised a lot of money, they said, with it, and then they ended up just not wanting to manage it any longer. So every year you have to file, it's paperwork, it's time, you know?
Right.
And she said they ended up donating these benches for that reason, a couple of tables, a dance floor here or something, she mentioned.
Because of the money they had in the fund?
Yes, and then they donated the rest of the botanical gardens. They just wanted to end it, and so they emptied it out. So they no longer have it, it doesn't exist. So that led me down a rabbit hole of trying to figure out how we could open up our own. And I know that you kind of mentioned that they don't want this under the Parks Board and Rec name.
Right, we would have to create a new name, but we could all be members.
We could all be members. It has, so I looked into Florida, and it looks like it's a $600 fee. However, you could do this easy 1023 for possibly $250. It's time. It's estimated to be about 20 hours worth of filing work. So yeah, the application process takes for you to enter in everything that they need, about 20 hours it's estimated. So I'm willing to do this. I would do this with an accountant though. I just don't know if Bellard Beach wants to throw the funds there for it.
Well, it's two-sided. So like Lynn gave me the application
Uh-huh.
and I don't remember it being, I mean, it was pretty, he said you have to do the bylaws, so maybe that's what takes so long is the bylaws of the non-for-profit. But the application was probably 6 pages long and it didn't look that detailed. I can put it in your mailbox if you want to take a look at it and
No,
see
I
if
can
it.
pull it down too. It's
Okay.
good. So there's just 2 ways of going about it. And I'd rather speak to an accountant that really knows because it's kind of ever changing the laws on it. But I think it's going to be either $600 or $250 if you can get the easy process. The easy process was the one. It's not easy, I guess, but that's what it said on the website. That it's about $20. Yeah, estimated total prep time. It's going to be between those 2 things, but we're definitely going to need either a lawyer, an accountant, something.
Can we use the city attorney for this or no?
I imagine so. Why not?
Because I think it has to be not affiliated with the city.
Why
I
though?
don't
Which-
Why
think you
can't
can
it-
use the city attorney. I mean, let's ask Lynn.
I don't think we can,
Yeah.
this person came up with.
Yeah.
Did it? Okay.
But why
I can
is
see
it
them
not
poo-pooing
allowed
it.
to be underneath the city? Why couldn't it? Why can't it be a field?
I don't understand it either because like when I was doing the initial research and I was looking online at other cities that do it, it was literally listed through the city,
Yeah.
you know, tax write-off, like donations, if you want to do all the things that we talked about doing. So I'm not exactly clear on why we can't do it, and Lynn hasn't been in our meeting for a couple of months. So I don't know, maybe it's something you can take back and ask him. I mean, I feel like we're kind
I
of
will.
dragging this thing out, and I didn't
It
realize
is.
it was 20 hours of paperwork.
And that's what I just recently read because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start this and see what it kind of looks like. And then I just read that portion and I was like, and maybe that's an exaggeration on one part.
I think
How-
if you're really gonna pry into like all these bylaws and things, I think provide templates and I mean, if you keep it general, I don't think you'll get that kind of time. You know?
I agree. I highly doubt that's accurate. It seems very.
I can see like a separate checking account and separate funds, and it's a very clear cut and dry, black and white. There's no mixing
There gets
things.
a little bit. It gets a little bit on how much you're estimated to gain. Is it for public use? Is there any gain from it? So I don't know if, like, let's say we were doing bricks, a memorial. Let's just say, and you know, put in your name. Is that considered a gain to me, or is that really for public use? Is it just bench that's public use, or is walking, you know, on a pathway considered for public? Some of those things you don't even need this nonprofit tax code. You can just do it on your own. But I think maybe if I could just have like 10 or 15 minutes with an
Okay.
accountant,
Well-
the city's lawyer, that they could just really quickly knock these questions out.
Well, like even if you just email him, like you put your, you know, like your questions on
Yeah,
bullet
you
point
can email me
format.
all your questions and I'll try to get answers.
Where do I start? What question? Just, can we open up a nonprofit? Like, what would it take? I mean, it kind of, one
Well,
question
what-
leads to another question.
Oh, you want a
It'd be like-
conversation?
I think it would be a 5-minute conversation versus about 15 emails going back and forth to each other. It's not that I mind the writing, it's just that I think if we could communicate, it'd be like, you could just quickly say, what are you really trying to do? And I can say, we're not quite sure how big this is going to be, how big our donations are going to be, but let's just start it low and estimate that we're going to be under $50,000 per year. We're probably going to be in the small business. I highly doubt it's going to go anywhere near those numbers. But, you know, what are our risks of opening it up? What yearly maintenance do I really have for this? And is this something that your average Joe can do? Do I need an accountant, or is it a lawyer sufficient, or is this I'm on my own? So these would technically be my questions, but I feel like that's a lot to digest and be written down to read coherently.
Did the garden club say when they dissolved theirs? Like, was it 5 years ago or 2 years ago? Or I think these benches were here when I moved here 4 years ago.
She
So
said
it was
6
probably
years ago. I I didn't ask
So
her
it's been a
exactly.
while.
She said it's been a while that they got rid of it.
Yeah, well, they gave us the benches like almost 2 years ago,
How many?
like about 2 years ago.
Oh,
2
okay.
years.
A little less, with the planters. They started with, I think, 2 benches, and then they gave us another 3.
Oh, okay, so maybe that's when they dissolved it.
I mean, they probably wanted to dissolve it because they were just not fundraising. She said they weren't fundraising anymore. The money was just sitting there and no one wanted to manage it.
So they kind of did, I mean, we're not looking to fundraise either. We're looking to like do like, you know, example with Kelly, like she wanted to donate, you know, for like, you know, with her business as a donation from her business, like the dog poop like dispensers in the parks, say, you know, 3 parks or whatever, you know, I'm just making stuff up, but like, and then her, you know, donated by, and then I guess it's for public use, the dog, like just like the benches are for public use. So,
I think you're allowed to up to like $300 from my quick Google search without even having a nonprofit tax code, as long as it's for public use and for your city. Again, things an accountant. I know an accountant, sort of. From
well, the list that
neighborhood.
he put together for us, there were some lower end things, but there were some higher end
Yeah.
things too, like more than $300.
Agreed.
So,
See, I thought we were doing it for fundraising. I thought it was for possibly building a gazebo or whatever it might be, or artwork or whatever comes up, you know?
yeah.
I thought it was going to be bigger, but not huge, just.
I guess it's the same thing. I just wasn't looking at it as fundraising. It
Uh-huh.
would be more like if, like, say, Tim and I wanted to donate money for a gazebo, but we didn't want to donate 50,000. We only wanted to, and I'm totally making this up. We only wanted to donate half. So, like, we would donate 25,000, and George would donate the other 25,000, and both of our names would go, like, maybe a brick on this side of the gazebo and a brick on this, you know, donated by the Ortel family and the
That's
Lavenda
what I
family.
understood.
So like, I guess I didn't look at that as fundraising because like, they donate the money, they get the tax write-off, the gazebo is built, and there's really no money left over. It's just paying for the gazebo,
Yes.
paying for specifically what you pick to donate. So that's why I didn't look at it as like fundraising. We were just looking for a segue for it to be a tax write-off as opposed to you donating it and not getting like any, you know, like you would if you donated it to a different charity, if that makes sense.
Understood.
So I guess it's just the way you're
So
looking.
it's for tax
Sure.
purposes.
The reason why we're doing this is for tax purposes, so people have like a slight bit of incentive to donate. Like, yeah, it's nice to have your name on a brick, but if you can get, you know, a tax write-off for that, that would be, you know, it's just like,
Benches can have little plaques on them.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of things that you can do down the road. I'm sure it's not going to just start pouring in and there's going to be monuments all over, you know.
No. That's why this is
But
so
it's
slow. And
just-
I have not been rushing this at all because it's just going to be like a drip. Like it's going to be of
Yeah.
interest. We're not going to solicit people. It will be on the website if they find it or if they hear about it word of mouth or they hear about it at a council meeting or something like that. But it's not going to be like this big fundraising thing where we're out knocking on doors trying to get people to donate, you know, a gazebo to the city because we need one and then they get a tax write-off and a plaque. Like it's not a soliciting thing. At least in my mind it wasn't.
But it's going to take money to open this up. And I think it should be tied to the Parks and Rec
I don't
or
think
something.
We
tie
can't.
it.
Why?
It's just not allowed. I mean,
What's not allowed?
I'll have to get the lawyer to tell us what, but it's just not done that way. I've never seen it done that way.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw cities that appeared that way, if you could provide them to me so I could do the research.
Sure.
I just never.
You know, I just randomly like,
Yeah.
Googled, so I'd have to
what
just do it again.
comes down to is you need people that are motivated to do it and want to do it. If you don't have that, it's probably not going to happen.
it's not worth the money to, if it's like $600 and you have to file and pay fees. Because that's the other thing, if you have to pay fees to file the paperwork every year and we're not raising money, then we don't have any money to pay for the, and it's not a big deal if it's $20.
I didn't see that it would be yearly, but you would have to file the paperwork yearly. I just don't know if that's.
If there's a fee, like an LLC, if you file it every year, you have to pay the fees every year. So I didn't know if there were fees involved yearly or if just it was in the setup. So yeah, and Lynn has said more than once, and so has Kyle, for whatever reason it can't be, we can all be on it, it has to have a separate name, and it has to be non-affiliated with the city.
Okay.
But we can't use our budget to pay the fees.
Correct.
I'm assuming no. After the last council meeting, I'm definitely assuming no.
I just thought.
So,
I'll try and get the exact reason, just so you guys know.
The exact reason on.
Why,
It can't
why
be
the city
us.
cannot be affiliated with it. I'm sure that the lawyer can tell us something.
But after the last meeting, wouldn't it be a yes to use these funds for bringing in money from elsewhere and not using those funds for things like this?
maybe.
Kind of look at it that way.
That's true, maybe. That would be a maybe.
Okay. Let me see if I can call somebody and figure out how this is, what it really would fall down to. I don't mind doing the paperwork.
And I'll help you. I don't mind it.
Being on
And I'll
there
make
and,
some
like,
phone
kind
calls.
of
I just don't want
helping
to do
that,
double work.
I just don't want to go down that.
Does anybody else have any comments or input or suggestions? I just don't want this to be a bunch of work for us and it doesn't end up going anywhere. Like if it's only in theory a very nice idea and then it doesn't like materialize into anything and it
I
ju-
think it's a good opportunity to have. I think if it's really 250, 600 and there's an opportunity there and it's not like yearly, it's that, I mean, that's not the fee yearly, that's a one-time. You know, somewhere down the road, someone might donate.
No, I
something
agree.
big,
That's-
and
I
it might be
mean-
all worth it.
But
Yeah.
you make a point, you do have to keep up with it, you do have to every year.
Yeah, somebody
So-
has to take responsibility on it and
It's
file
one of those things
it.
that can fall apart very easily.
Well,
A lot of
People don't
websites
know.
told you, said stop, turn around. There's probably already a nonprofit that's already doing what you're doing, and you save yourself the time and just donate, you know, through them. But I still think it's a good idea to explore, but it would definitely, I think the city would have to fork over the fees at minimum, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
For-
Okay, so you know, I plan on presenting again, even though it's not the quarterly board report, at the next council meeting. So I will definitely bring this up and get the thoughts.
I mean, that's like the perfect time if you want to get questions answered with the attorney right there.
Yeah, it would,
Is jury?
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, especially if you're asking if your budget can pay for this stuff.
So we could say, this is what we've been researching and this is what we're interested in doing. We were wondering if we could get some feedback from the council or the city
Okay.
attorney. And, yeah, it was definitely something I wanted to talk about because again, like I don't want to put a ton of work into it. Like I would never have you fill out all the paperwork and even start the process until we present it to
understood,
council.
right. Sure.
Yeah, because that's too much work to have them go, no, we're not
Yeah.
doing it. So,
Seems to be the first question someone would ask, why? Why do we want
Make the city better,
Because we
Get
love our
tired.
city.
yeah. Like add additional, like what the list had of like what we were like using the money for. Because like we're seeing voids in like of these things in like the parks. So we think like a tube station or more trash cans, things to still like maintain our city and keep it like the best it could be.
So it's taking place of something we already have budgeted?
but some of the stuff we don't have budgeted, and then that's how it's kind of like a fundraiser. So like if someone in the city wants to donate, and then that same money can be used for something else that the city would need, say like a sign out front or some way to communicate to our residents, then they can use the money for
There's
that.
always people that want to also promote themselves, real estate agents, things of this sort. So
Dog
we are
concierge.
I'm constantly walking outside and I would sort of read every plaque, you know, that there was, and so that's kind of, it's advertising.
And George, honestly, I got the idea because at the end of the year, I was like, oh, I was looking at our tax donations for the year, and I'm like, okay, I'm not even to what I was last year. So I wrote a $2,000 check to the Florida English Bulldog Rescue. Like, I could have very easily done the same thing if Bel Air Beach had a program. I could have donated $2,000 to something on the list that he put together, and it would have been the same difference to me. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a good or bad idea, I'm just saying that
That's what they'll ask.
council will ask that question. And
No, it's a very good point.
We're just saying we feel strong and we want to do this. It was great for our community, but I totally get it. I understand, like, what you're saying.
Do you have wording in mind that you would want us to use when we present? And it's a very good point. And I think like between what Nora said and just the fact that like, you know, it gives residents an opportunity to either advertise their business or as a memorial to, you know, their parents who lived here for 40 years. And, or, you know, so we could have just 2 or 3 examples of situations where someone might want to donate.
It just pulls in money. What was that?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And some
Examples?
examples. If I were on the council, I would ask that question.
Sure.
Why do we want to do this? And we had last laid out answers to look at this scenario, this scenario.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will put together a couple of I'll put together like a cheat sheet like I was going to present it to the city, and I'll do some bullet points, and then I'll have Patty email it out to all of you, and if you have any suggestions or feedback, just send it back to her and she'll send it to me, because you know that's the only way we can communicate without meeting 9 times, unfortunately. So it's not like I can go to Nora's house and sit there and talk and put it together. I'll just do it that way, and then all of you can give me your feedback, and then we'll put together something brief and detailed enough where it would answer like their questions. If it didn't cost any money, it's like no harm, no foul. But because it costs money, they absolutely need to know why we would want to do it.
I think we should find out exactly what it's going to cost. Let me try to talk to somebody and find out, and then we can at least give them, because, I mean, not that it's a lot of money, but it's a range.
Okay, yeah,
Save
no, I
that.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also looking into another nonprofit that we could work with.
Such.
Like, I'm not sure, but backing up to donating, there's a realtor that was in my networking group that if you're driving down West Bay, you'll see this section of the garden was donated by Darlene Sheets. If we figure out how Darlene donated and bought that, you know, she has a little plaque there, you know, maybe it's right down the street, so why can't we look into whatever that nonprofit is? I don't know.
I see what you're saying. I'm just wondering.
I wonder if I did some research and asked Darlene, how did she get her plaque? And then work backwards. Maybe I can get you a couple answers. Because I've never donated before. I don't know who.
I wonder if the city of Bel Air has an order too, but I'm guessing they don't want to. Yeah. They do a lot of events.
They do a
A
ton.
lot of like chili cook-offs. I don't know.
They have a car show
Fun.
this weekend.
They
They're
what?
like what, 4 times bigger than us though?
Yeah.
So they're fun, and they have commercial businesses. It's a little bit different, but they
Very
do
different.
they should have a template that we should be able to dumb down, like not dumb down as in, but like size
But
wise.
perhaps they would be interested in sharing with
Right.
some
Right.
kind of benefit, working their way as well.
Well, you know, okay, so they have their meetings here, and I would say 3 or 4 months ago, Lynn said, "Oh, so and so in Bel Air does this. I'll call and ask him questions," and it never. So I don't know if the guy didn't call
That
him
was
back.
Town of Bel Air, just not, I remember saying
Do you remember? Yeah.
that. Yeah, I saw it follow up.
Okay, and it never materialized into anything
Right.
that I heard. He
And that
just
was-
gave me the application.
That was a 501(c) separate from, because I mean, cities do have sponsorship programs, but they're not the same thing. They're completely managed by the city, and I don't think you can write donations. It's usually businesses within the city that want to promote their name, and they can just launch a cheap program. That's not quite the same thing. Because you're not achieving your goal of a good tax write-off.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but like the guy that Lynn was talking about, they have an organization over there in town of Bel Air that raises a lot of money. So, yeah. I guess I'll follow up with them and find out.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
Because that's a good contact too, as far as how things are done. So you want to contact the garden club to find that out.
Right.
So,
And you did talk to their garden club.
I spoke with their garden club, who gave me our garden club information. I spoke to Linda there.
Linda over there, to Linda
the
here.
Linda here. Gave me to another Linda or something. It was, I was like,
It's either Linda or Karen.
That's hysterical.
Who called me on Easter morning. And I was like, okay, let's have this
I'm in the
talk.
middle of an Easter egg hunt.
Oh, I got so much work on Easter. Took care of 14 dogs.
Oh, boy, sorry.
Continue, sir.
That's crazy. All right, well then we're just gonna keep working on
So
this
if I
one.
find out any information, I can't contact you directly. I have to go through Patty.
You have to go through that.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so item number 5. So the activity calendar, like, you know, the items that we have on there are kind of plugging along. Some are doing better than others. Like, I honestly feel like the walks and stuff like that, unless you get on the phone and call people and rally a group, it just doesn't happen. So, you know, that is what it is. It's like if people show up, great. If they don't, they don't. I think the paddleboard yoga is going pretty well. She switched her classes around a little bit for April and May, like to adjust to what happened in the earlier months, but she said they're going well. The lessons are only once a month. The yoga on the beach, as far as I know, is going well. The Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So Nicole, because it was kind of the only way we had to advertise this unless someone went on the Bel Air Beach city website, was kind of going on the Bel Air Beach Facebook residents page. And she probably posted 3 or 4 times, hey, there's a yoga class or the painting class or whatever it was. And then so she posted the April calendar, and it was taken down by an administrator within an hour or something like that. So now we really have no way to advertise that I know of, and I have no idea why we were taken off of that, because we weren't taken down the previous 4 times. So if there was something that was like, you know how like a next door neighbor, you're not allowed to advertise your own restaurant, or you're not allowed to advertise your own business, but someone can give you a good like, hey, this restaurant's great, or hey, this is the best dog babysitter I've ever had in my life, you know. So someone can give you a referral on Nextdoor, but you're not allowed to say, hey, this is my business, this is what I do, this is what I charge. So like, my thought was it might be a legality thing, but they did knock us off the first 4 times, but they definitely knocked us off this last time, and we don't know why. So like, we're trying to figure that out.
I
Like,
got an answer.
so Nicole has an answer.
Yeah, so I like reached out to one of the people that run like the group, and I guess because it wasn't like, I didn't actually say it was like for Park and Rec, like for like our city, they like took it down. So she told me that like post again. She's like, I will take it down. Like, so sorry, and like.
Oh,
like,
good.
you
That's
can
great.
Post the beginning of the month, like first week of the month, and then she'll just like put up a reminder, like, hey, don't forget to like check the city website, whatever, like just for people to actually like see it. So yeah, I kind of like.
So she
still
just,
holding on.
because it didn't say City of Bel Air Beach activity schedule?
Yeah, like it didn't say like, oh, you know, this is like something that like the city is.
It looks
putting
like an
on.
individual.
Yeah, like
was
I
trying to
put
make
up the
money.
thing about the paddleboard thing.
Yeah.
It's like me, I'm less than 30 years old. I had no idea what that entailed. So I was like, oh, it has like more information. People can like get more info about it instead of like asking me. And then I thought maybe that flagged it. So I was like, okay, I'll just post the schedule and keep it like clean. Just be like, please check the website for additional details. So
Yeah, because when she was posting it before, like on the little calendar that I had made, and it, you know, she was getting people dinging her back like left and right with questions, which I don't want her to have to field, especially when the answer is right there on the bottom and they're just not reading it. Like, you know, she's working, like it shouldn't be like, you know, the Q&A all day. Hey, what time? What do I need to bring? Do I need money? Where it says flat out it's $10 a class or whatever it is. So she was
That works. I mean,
she was trying to do more details. It just needed a little tweaking.
yeah, so I'll just
Perfect.
post it, yeah, like I'll repost, and so like it'll be like what beginning of the month, and then like she'll send out a like reminder, and then for anything that's like probably like a bigger event, then I'll let them know prior to me posting so that they don't take it down and I'm not doing like double the work, like just hey, I'm gonna post this, like be prepared, because like people are seeing it, like I can see like how many people actually see it, even if they just skim by it, like it's there, like there's something there that will like catch their attention. So
Oh, good. That's
I
great
can
news.
Continue, like I'll write it down, like I'll continue doing the Facebook, like that's fine.
Okay, yay.
By the way, that painting sunset,
Mhm.
when's that rescheduled to?
You know, I texted him and he never got back to me.
Oh,
and
so still up in the air.
It's
Okay.
still kind of up in the air.
I did pay for it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, yeah, and he did say one person did, and I think what the problem is, I literally have to say, if the class is on the 10th, you have to sign up and pay by the 1st, because a lot of people were waiting till the day of, but if he doesn't have 12 people, he's canceling
Yeah.
it. So the 12 people, unless they sign up at 8 in the morning, it's gonna get canceled. So that was kind of a lesson learned on logistics,
Yeah.
I think.
If the information's already there, you know, if they can't read, then they can call the city and we can read it for them.
Okay.
But that way it's not coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that works.
Because we're here working, so hopefully they go to what you prepared and the information's there, they can see it. But if not, you know, it's just one of those things that we'll know the information if they want to call us, and then we'll just tell them. You know,
Got ya. I think between,
because yeah,
The-
usually all phone calls about this is.
Yeah, I just like them, like, oh, what's this? Like, oh, what's.
and they weren't really calling you, they were just like,
Yeah, they were just
messaging back.
commenting,
Messaging
which
back.
was like, kind of good because then it like got them like interacting, and then other people would chime in and be like, oh, like, and then like they'll ask, and then they'll automatically get the notification like, oh, you responded back, and then it goes to the top. So I'll definitely put the city website, like the direct link to like
Yeah.
where they can get the schedule, and then like the details.
And then that's less. So then if the document or whatever the schedule changes, you don't have to worry about changing the link.
Yeah,
I mean, it's-
yeah, good idea.
So you're not changing it in two different places, or it's just.
yeah, I pretty much sent her exactly what I sent Patty. So like if they looked at either place, they were looking at the same document. I was hoping that would kind of like,
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you give it to Patty, we put it on our website, then you don't have to take that same document and upload it somewhere else. Just give the link back to the same website.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
at the same
Yeah.
place. So you change one thing, it changes it.
yeah,
Because
perfect.
we like, this time I did like a graphic so that it was like more like appealing in the group
Okay,
instead
yeah.
of just like, oh, like here's the calendar, which is great, but then
Right.
it's like, oh, it's like beach clean,
Something
like
to catch the
whatever.
eye.
Yeah, and like it just highlighted like basically like, hey, on Tuesdays this is what's happening. So it was like more clear. But it lasted like 10 minutes, so I didn't get any traction. I don't know, like if people liked it, if they seen, I don't know. So I'll try to
Yeah.
like repost and then just make sure that it's like once a month, like beginning of the month, do a follow up like in the middle, and then if there's any like special events or anything, just like post those individually. Like think like the painting, like
And like you can add the blood drive for May and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah.
And the painting.
May 14th is the blood drive.
And then I think too, like the link to the stand-up paddleboard was on there, so they could go on, which is great because if you sign up and then, like this past Sunday the weather was horrid, you know, then you should know it's canceled, but she will literally like have your information and respond back to you and say, hey, there's no class today. Hopefully I'll see you next Sunday or Tuesday or whatever. So, okay, perfect. So at least we have that. I'm happy. That works out great. So I wanted to ask you guys, as far as like surveying the parks, like I feel like we did that like more than 3 months ago. You remember how we each took 2 or 3 parks and we looked for good, bad, ugly, like
I think it
suggestions?
was November or December.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking it's time we do it again. Like, you know, I don't know if every quarter's too much, every 6 months. What are you guys thinking on time frame? Like, I don't think once a year is enough. Kyle, what are your thoughts on this? I see your facial expression.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're surveying the same things, and we took care of a lot after the last survey. Just from a maintenance standpoint, I don't know what would change in 3 months.
Just in case anything's come up or if there's anything.
Like a broken bench, or do you think like the maintenance people pick that stuff
They
up?
should be picking it up, yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
mean,
don't think we need to do it again?
I think quarterly is a little bit much, but
Every 6
I
months?
mean, because we're going out there and when we maintain the parks, we're supposed to be looking at the amenities and noticing things that are broken. You know, I mean, more, you know, like what improvements could be made. Like one thing we still have to do is we gotta do something to the floor in the Morgan Park bathrooms. And that's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's your call, you know.
No. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up for discussion. I don't want to do it too often, and I don't want to be like neglectful. Like it's like a, hey, we're not, you know, because.
But at any time, if you see something that you think needs a little attention, just say, you know, because you know,
A lot of us
if it's something we haven't
actually-
seen,
4 of us live in like a 1 block radius, you know? And I think we are not driving across
Sure,
the bridge
sure.
and going up to the northern park. So for me, it was a quick, you know,
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes of my life, so I have no problem going again.
Yeah.
With
I'm at-
whatever time you want to, it was,
I'm at the 6th Street Park and the 12th Street Park
You probably
3
have-
times a week. What do you want to know? Those are going to be mine.
yeah, I mean, and it doesn't have to be official. If you want to just let me know. Also,
Yeah.
if you see something.
Yeah, I mean,
That's great.
yeah. It's good to know that we can shoot him an email. I think that's
Absolutely.
great. I think that's a great thing. Like, you know, let's try, I guess, to broaden our neighborhood horizons. And if we see anything, like Kyle.
Okay. So,
I think we should do it again for sure.
okay, how about like twice a year, like every 6 months? So that would be, I'll check the exact date, but like, let's just say we'll divvy them up next month and then do the presentations the following month and then start the 6 months after that. Is everybody good with that? And if, you know, if you only want to do one or if you don't want to do it, like a lot of us are in the parks. Like I've been going with my son like all the way down Gulf, like to Morgan Park and back. So we're hitting kind of the ones up there. I don't come over here a lot. So like, you know, to me, it forced me out of my parks that I go to all the time,
Yeah.
like having that little assignment. So it was good
Yeah.
for me, even if the park needed nothing and I just came back and said, hey, this one looks great.
I kind of liked it too.
Huh?
I kind of liked it too.
Yeah, no, I liked it. And yeah, it forced me out of my comfort zone. And it, like, I guess, you know, did I copy you on the email that said somebody, because I know like it's Bel Air Beaches, but we don't really do anything with it. I call it Stoner Park because it always smells like weed, but they burned the picnic table.
Oh yeah, you copied it.
Didn't I
Yeah.
send you that? Yeah,
Yeah.
someone bought a new picnic table and took
They
it.
put it out there already.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm assuming someone bought a new picnic table that goes there every weekend, put it on their boat, and
Oh.
took it out there because I saw someone sitting on it when we went by it on Saturday.
Where?
You know, like behind, like if you're sitting on my back porch and you're staring at that
At the
little
island?
Big
Oh,
island there.
I noticed that there was a picnic bench, but they set it on fire.
someone set it on fire, and
Party
like
Island?
so.
Party Island.
Is that what it is?
I call it Stoner Island. Do you call it?
Party Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been there
It's the
once.
city's island, but we have no way of.
It's ours? That's,
Yeah.
that's not Indian Rocks Beaches?
It's right behind my house.
I'll go check out that park.
We're talking about the one where people go
If you're-
drinking and boating on.
every
Yeah,
weekend.
and
Yeah.
all you
Closer
got
to
is-
Harbor Drive. Maybe we're.
I see what you're saying. Those houses that kind of stick out, but like where it's literally right behind my
Yeah,
house.
yeah. I know what you mean. That's sweet that someone bought a new one, was there?
Yeah, it was very nice, I
Yeah.
thought. So they could put their name on it and get a tax credit.
Yeah.
Because the city never goes
And
out there.
Stoner
They
Island
have
Picnic
both
Table
there.
donated by.
The county sheriff can monitor activity out there.
That's Bel Air Beach.
Yeah.
That's what they told me. Well,
He said
I
the
love
same
how
thing
shocked
to
you
me.
are.
Because it's so close to my sister's house that I was speaking to one of her neighbors. I go, you live behind Party Island. I'm like, is it always? And she goes, we can hear them. All the jet skiers pull up there. I mean, there's
And
kids
smell
out there
'em.
on
You
the
can hear 'em and
weekends.
smell 'em.
And it's so close. I just assumed it was in Rocks Beach, and I'm still